Wow. So good evening, viewers. It's always nice to come to you every Friday at 7:30 through before and after. I say I do platform, and it's always a joy. I want to pray that you had a lovely week. You enjoyed yourself. I know it's been a cold week, then cold months, but we have to keep pressing on. Yeah, so it's my joy to come back to you still again on our 10th episode. Since we started this live on Facebook, we are grateful and we thank you so much for the feedback that we have been getting. It's been amazing of people just getting encouraged, feedback about relationships restored. I mean, families talking about deeper things that they had never talked about. So we really, really value your feedback so much. So I welcome you this evening to be with us. It's me, your host, Pauline Gikang'ah, always a joy. And yes, my guests are here all the way from Rwanda. They're actually 1 hour behind us. So at their place, it's 6:30 when it's 7:30 over here. And so before I get in, because I told them for you guys, we have to step in immediately to their journey because we need to really exhaust this 1 hour. So allow me to welcome my lovely guests, the Bongos, to just say hello.
Ladies first.
Hi everyone, I'm Carol Bongo.
My name is George Bongo. Pleasure to be here.
Wonderful. But
Yes.
George, I had you introduce yourself another day with like 10 names. You just said, what are the other names? The other day I had other names.
What are the official names? It is George Jenga, Dr. Sekretary Moi.
All right, interesting. So thank you for coming to the live with us today and just to speak to somebody out there, somebody who is a single mom out there, somebody who is one of the questions I must say, even before we start, that always comes up, when we are talking to, and when you listen to somebody who is desiring marriage one day, not even a single man, but a single mom or a single man, but a single mother, but even somebody who is just waiting for and looking forward to marriage, they'll always ask, is it okay to date somebody who is younger than you? I mean, I've had ladies ask, everybody who comes to me is younger than me with 2 years. Is that okay? And we know there are things which do not have definite answers because we have different journeys, all of us. And so there's somebody who has asked that question and is asking right now in their minds, and I'm sure this evening they'll get people who have walked a journey which would answer some of those questions or even encourage them as they go on in whatever journey they are in. So let me dive in. Let me start by asking now, okay, the lady started by introducing herself. Let me start with George. Yeah. George, tell me, growing up, what was your vision about marriage?
Growing up, when I was so young, it was very simple. Finding a very beautiful woman and marrying. But as I became older and I was mature, basically I saw someone who would be a friend, someone who would be, I always saw myself as many children, yeah. So yes, for me it was for my marriage was a simple. It was just for keeps and I never saw myself into. It was very strict, getting a lady who would have a vision with me, get children, and yeah, that was a simple, simple thought process I had when I was young.
Wow. Yeah. When you're young, wonderful. And what about you, Carol? What was in your mind growing up about, the way little girls dream about getting married? What was yours?
Of course, my dream, every single girl, by the time you're 8 to 10, you have this dream of your grand wedding and your gown and everything. So the wedding was definitely key to the marriage. Like there's no marriage without a wedding and approval from parents and everything. But more importantly for me, any relationship I was hoping to have would be leading to marriage. Like I did not see myself trying relationships. So for me, dating was for marriage. And although it didn't work out exactly like that, but yes.
But that was your dream. Okay. So did you have somebody, Carol, that you really admired? You know, growing up, is there people you really admired and wanted to be like them when you get married?
Yes, yes, yes. I had, first of all, I come from a Christian family. I come from all my aunties and uncles, they're basically pastors, missionaries, counselors, and they all get married properly and have proper families. I did not see any broken marriages in my family. I did not see any people, I did not see any come with stays, you know, people just got married properly and had a proper marriage. So for me, I think my whole family, from my own parents who've been now married for 45 years, yeah, I think 44, 45 years, everybody around me was a perfect example of marriage. I did not actually have any, I can't remember as a young person having any bad examples of marriage.
Wow, interesting. What about you, George? Did you have people you admired who are married before? I mean, who are those who are ahead of you?
Well, unfortunately, now when it comes to my family, I came from a very dysfunctional family. So, my father had 3 wives, and by the time I was about 12 years, they were already separated. So I came, in a way, I didn't have like a very something to look at, someone to admire, someone to inspire me. So in a way, I had to learn for myself. Basically, I had maybe uncles from the other side or something, whom we are not also very close. So in a way, I was disadvantaged in that regard.
Okay. So now then you thought about this pretty girl who you will marry one day, will have many children. So was Carol the first lady that you met in terms of a relationship?
Yes. I was about to say, unfortunately, yes. Very bad, but yes, it was, yes. One thing about me, I'm so lucky and thankful because I was not, a man of many ladies, and I was not trying out here and there. So, like when I was in school, I was just a bookwormer. When I was I was just focused on what I wanted, and I didn't have time for girlfriends. That's to be precise. I didn't have time for girlfriend, and when I met Carol, Carol became the one.
Yes. Wow, Carol became, so she was your first love.
It was my first love. So I never went through, I've not gone through broken heart. I've never gone through. So if I'm going, then I'm going through it now. If she's going, this experience, I'm going through everything now. So in a way, I'm lucky that.
Wow, interesting. So Carol, was George your first? Well, I know I mentioned to the viewers that you had 2 daughters, so definitely George was not your first. So tell us about maybe your life just before you met George.
Yeah, my life is in a 250-page book. Mostly because I meet a lot of people who've lived exactly the life I lived, and they were okay with it. But like I told you, I came from a family where my standards were set. I grew up with a certain set of standards. And therefore, when I met this guy, and who was, first of all, an unbeliever, which was a mistake because something I didn't want. And then number 2, his ideal for marriage wasn't mine. So like him, he was okay to, let's hang around and see how this is gonna work. But me, and my whole family actually just wanted us to, define this relationship. But unfortunately, that did not happen. And in between that relationship, now my 2 daughters were born. But unfortunately, by the time my second born was born, by the time she was 3 months old, I think, we sort of 3-4 months we broke up, and sort of as much as we tried to work it out after that, it didn't work. So no, I did George wasn't my first love, but yes, George is my first husband, basically, if I can say like that, because these are the relationship. I was very confused throughout. I was really confused because I did not know, do I call him husband, boyfriend, fiance? I did not know, because for me, marriage starts with a commitment, dowry, marriage, the whole process. Now, whether I was about that or not, I don't know, but that's all I knew. And I found a boat. Sort of, I was thrown off a boat in the waters that I had never ever experienced. Well, not anybody else who had experienced that. So it was really confusing for me. And then eventually when the relationship broke up, so that was me who being a single mom now and thinking my life is over.
Wow. So so you get into this one, the first relationship, and in the relationship you get children. So you're in this relationship, you can't, it's not a marriage, but because you're engaging sexually, you had children out with. So
Yes.
how was life? Yeah. So how was your life after that? Now tell us, after now, okay, you have the children, you're now a single mom, you're not in this relationship. How was it between then and when you met George?
So now, Pauline, what actually happens is now I'm just walking throughout a broken relationship. Now, the broken relationship wasn't even the most hurtful thing to me. Is that when we broke up, when he realized that I was going to walk away because it became abusive at that particular point, he abducted my daughter. I'm sure you probably heard that story. And that broke my heart. If there's anything that ever broke my heart, it was that. I can tell you my heart was shattered in 20 million different ways. And him and his family managed to keep my daughter for over 3 months. But somehow God used that to break me and make me again, you know. Because remember, I'd already gotten lost even in my salvation. You understand? So God used that to bring me back to God. So by the time I got my daughters back, my daughter, it was just one he had taken. When I got my daughter back, relationships were not in my head. You know, marriage was not in my head. But then I went through the process, I healed. And then I started getting confused because all I wanted in my life was to serve God. Sexual purity is like top notch for me. I do not want to have a double life. So even as a single mom, all I wanted is if I'm going to raise my children, I will raise them in righteousness. You know, I won't be having to run off with some guys or anything. I did not want that. But I found myself making a few mistakes here and there. And I went back to God and said, God, this is not the life I want myself. Remember, I'm not even yet 30 then. So I'm like, if I'm not yet 30 and I've started messing, what's going to happen as I continue, you know? So I started now rethinking and thinking, do I work out and go back to this guy again, the father of the kids? Because all along he wanted me back. And am I able, you know, to survive this way? Because I as much as I tried, I couldn't. No, it's not that I was messy, but nilikuwa najipata tu karibu nimemess many times. And then now I brought on the third option of maybe I could get married again. Hey, like when I thought about that, I would think, no, wow, I can't bring in another man in my children's life because I think it is watching too many movies or novels. Every time you brought in a different parent, of course, I've not really seen stepfathers, but stepmothers were horror story. I'm sure you've heard. Every time a stepmother is brought, normally it's a horror story. Now, stepmothers is what I had seen. So I hadn't seen anything about stepfathers, anybody who is not a father of the children. So I did not know if it is something I could think about. So I sort of resisted. And I remember I had this long conversation with God at that particular time. And I cried and prayed. And I remember asking God, what do I do? You know, I do not want to continue in sin. What do I do? What are my three choices? And God told me, choose. Whatever direction you want to go, I will go with you. And then I told him, God, I can't. I cannot. I don't even know myself what I want. So I want you to choose for me. But for me, purity is the highest thing for me. I want righteousness. You see, like with Ifan, you know, I do not want to pretend around that I'm a righteous person. And then now all around I'm doing these things. So sort of shortly after that, George appeared. Not for dating or anything now, because he brought in the issue of being younger. Because he was younger, and me, if you're even the same age with me, you could not even date me. So because he was younger, I did not even consider that possibility. So sort of we became friends, but he had this authority over a 40-year-old. You know, he was rebuking me about salvation. He was rebuking me about my kids because I was so busy career-wise. I wasn't taking care of them. So before I jumped myself, so that is basically the story before George.
Yeah, you met, yeah, jumping there, yeah. So before you, allow me to take you back because of a young lady maybe out there listening. You said that you were a church girl. So is it before you were in this relationship where you were sexually active and got children? You were actually a church girl before that?
Totally. Since I got born again when I was 12. And all my life, I was like, you know, those girls who get dipped in church. My life was church and then everything else, you know. So it was really confusing being out there, not being in church, yes.
So how was that for you? I mean, you're a church girl, you've gone through that. How was that for you, Carol?
Wow, let me tell you one thing. Today, if 15 years ago, yeah, before I met George, if you had told me there's a time I would be seated and I will be able to go before God and stand and talk about God and serve God, and it was, I could not believe you. You know, it's like telling a street boy, you will buy a helicopter one day. It was impossible because I could not see how I could get back to salvation. Not because God was rejecting me, but first of all, remember, even the church is going to reject me, and I don't blame people. You know, basically, I have been, by Christian Union, I was in the executive committee of the Christian Union. I was a leader in high school, I was a CU leader. I was a leader in my church. I did evangelism, I did crusades, I did door to door. I was totally sold to Christ. And now here I have messed up. Now, I am living with this guy who is not even married to me, and I have a child. And so what I did is I sank myself into my career. And if you notice, my career grew like nothing because it's sort of my way of forgetting this life. If you came to my place of work, I worked in a horticulture farm. Nobody knew I was born again. Nobody, by then I had done my first album by the time I went to work. Nobody knew I could even sing. I sort of separated my spiritual life completely to this new life. And I sort of adjusted to this new world, but I was really lost because I couldn't exactly fit in. I couldn't go back, you know, so I was just always there, a lost girl, totally lost for those years.
Totally lost. Wow. All right, thank you for that, because I know there's someone, and I'm sure at the end though you'll give a parting shot. Yeah. So about that, for a lady listening who feels like they have messed up and now even want to, you know, don't want people even to know she has a relationship with God. So George, at what point did you meet Carol? Take us through meeting her.
Well, we met in a studio. My brother was a producer in Nairobi also, was working with his brother. The brother owned a studio somewhere in Dono. So I think I'd come from Mombasa, so I just visited them to see how they're doing. And that's how now I met Carol in the studio, and then we became friends. I started mentoring her musically because I think I was good, in quotes. I started mentoring her, and we just became friends. And in a short while, we started dating. Maybe after a year, we started dating after a year.
Actually, it was months. Very few months.
Very few months.
So what did you? Allow me to ask you. What did you see? What you said you wanted a beautiful lady. So did you see that? Did you at that point know she has children? Did you know she was a single mom yet?
Yeah. So when I met her, you know, first of all, now that I've become older, I realize actually you don't look at beauty. The beauty is actually the beauty of the heart, you know, beauty of the soul. So when I met her, first of all, I loved her as a person because she was, I didn't know who she was. I didn't know what she was doing. I didn't know her career. We just met in the studio. And I think what connected us was the music, you know, music and then Christianity, because even by then I was also fired up for Christ, and I was also serving. And so those are the times when you meet someone, you start talking about God, you start talking about everything. By then I was serving in Christ Church, Westlands, in the same church. Serving with the Reverend Tom Atiena and stuff. So I was just fired up every time you meet someone, you just start. So we used to sit down, talk about God, you know, after the studio sessions are done, we sit down in the booth, we sit down in the studio, we talk about God for hours. And so that's how we ended up just growing and appreciating each other.
And I must mention that what made it so special was he was the first person I could talk to about God and not feel condemned. You know, before I wasn't even worthy talking about God, but probably because the story right from the beginning.
Yeah. So when we met, not immediately, but later on, she sat down with me and she was able to tell me her whole life story. You know, like the whole book. You know, the book that she has written.
Yeah, she's like.
She gave me that story, and we sat down. She told me everything from the word go, you know, from the first to the end. And I know for her to allow herself to be vulnerable with me, And by then, we were not even dating. By the time she's telling me all these stories, we were not even dating. We're just friends. And yes, that's how it happened.
So she told you the whole story. So she mentioned the daughters. What did you, when she said I have daughters, how was that for you? I have two children.
I already interacted with the daughters because you see, I was working in his brother's studio, and the brother, the house was a house, and both houses were not too far from each other, or in actually the same estate. So basically, one or another, I met the children. And one thing is that even after the first day I met her, I already knew she had children. And that's what I was talking about even in my other programs, where, you know, at least when you meet a lady, then they do not hide their children, because that's what happened with other ladies. They meet a young man, and because they want the young man to love them, and they do not want to taint themselves, so they hide the truth about the other children. So the first thing I met Carol, I knew about the children. I knew them, I'd interacted with them. By then they were calling me Uncle. She says they were calling me Uncle George, but I don't believe it. I can't recollect that. I just remember them calling me that. I don't recollect Uncle. I think that one was removed from my mind. But yes, I'd already interacted with the children, and yes, they're very, very, very beautiful children, and I love them from the word go. So it was easy for me. And when I came into the relationship, actually, one thing I noticed and I realized is I met Carol, and she loved her children. And there is no way you would love her without loving it. It was not a condition or anything, but I found myself, she taught me how to love the children. You understand? And she also taught the children how to love me. So it was a simple, unique, simpler way of how it happened. So there's no like miracle magic.
Wow, like, interesting.
There's nothing like, when I met her, everything she had to say, it had to be the daughters, my daughters, my daughters, my daughters, my daughters. You understand? And so there was no us without the daughter. So it was easier. That's how we started.
That's how you started. So yes. So George starts liking you. He likes your children because he sees them. He's been seeing them. How are you looking at George? Carol, I shrugged right there. Carol, how are you looking at George?
In the way of before dating, right?
You said I heard you say earlier that he was younger. You saw he was younger than you.
Yes, no, listen, I have to be very honest. The first day I saw him in the studio, this was my thought. I was like, if this guy was just older, he would be the perfect guy. That's exactly what I thought, you know. Or if I had met him, if I was...
So you're stalking me, eh?
So I must say that his impression of me, because like he said, yes, of course he looked good and everything, but it wasn't just that. It's not like he's the first person I met who looked good. It just, he had this right character. He was calm. Hakuna kimbelembele, you know. His whole life was just God. He did not have any compromises. I'm not saying I knew his personal secret life, but I mean, in a studio, there's a lot happening and boys doing stuff. He was like such a really orderly, organized person. So in my mind, I was like, wow, if we're the same age, this could be a relationship I could think about. So I must say I liked him right from the beginning. But of course, for me, this age thing was a big
by then nilikuwa na Kiswahili ya Mombasa hapo
and dreadlocks.
Nilikuwa na dreadlocks.
Oh. So you were young and you had dreadlocks, and then Carol, at what point did you know your age, the age difference, Carol?
No, of course, I did not know the exact age difference, but I knew he was younger than his brother, and I'd interacted with his brother a lot, and I knew his brother's age. So it wasn't a big, it wasn't a big thing to imagine. I knew we had an age difference, and for me, I told you, even if it was 1 year, you are young, so you are out of the game. And remember, I'm not even looking. So it is just mixed up in this whole thing.
But the truth is this, back then, when you look at Carol, also her face, she looked more younger than me, to be honest. She looked like a 22, 24. So to be honest, even when I was looking at her, no one would even know our age difference, you know. So in a way, that one also shielded the bit of the age.
Now, George, that is what love does. The love does not see, that cannot see It will just, anyway, I'm kidding. So for you, Carol, even 1 year was too young.
Yes, I couldn't even go that direction, you know.
So what happened, Carol?
So I guess, like you said, maybe this is what love does. I don't know, but but because we grew in phases, you know, he mentored me in music. That's obvious and that's clear. Mentoring not just in helping me develop my voice again, sing again, and all that, but giving me the confidence that I could sing again. I remember it had been like 8 years since I had backslidden. I had not sung again. So just giving me the confidence that I could sing again. But number two, just mentoring me in the way that there was nothing wrong with me. Yes, I had made mistakes, but I was still whole to God. So there was a bit, he affirmed, if I can say, God used him to remind me who I really was, beyond the stuff I had gone through, beyond the mistakes I had made, beyond the backsliding, beyond just singing in the bathroom only. He sort of, not because he was interested in dating me, but because I think he saw the value in me as a person. He was able to see the value in me as a person. And of course, like we like to dance a lot in the studio. So there's a lot of small fun things we did. And most importantly, I must say, I think if this guy was planning, if there's something he planned then to get me with, which he didn't, was because my kids fell in love with him. And they loved him. They loved him. Like if he came, I was non-existent. You know, he had so much energy. He didn't have half hearts about them. They enjoyed playing around with him. He took them for walks. There's so much he did. And remember, I was working a lot. So they always looked forward to him coming and, you know, spending time with them. And now if you're a mother, anybody that treasures your children, you can't afford not to love them. You know, you just find yourself really liking them and loving them. And I remember even when we got to the point now of think about dating, the most amazing thing he did, Kaylin was 6, I think, yeah? So he went and told Kaylin, he sat Kaylin, of course Melody was too young. So he sat Kaylin down and said, before he even told me about it, he told Kaylin, not before even we planned, okay, of course I knew he was interested in everything, but he asked Kaylin, would you like me to marry your mom? So, you know, most other situations, I would have had to go and sit Kaylin down, and Kaylin was very excited about it.
Okay, actually, it did not begin like that. It's not me who asked Kaylin. It is Kaylin who asked me first, because Kaylin came and said, we want to call you daddy. So it started from them. It's not me who generated it. It was them who came to me and said, can we call you daddy? Yes. And actually, it reached a point where they would cry, literally cry and have tantrum because they would want us to get married. So that is the point where it's in a way it's them who initiated everything. Yeah. So it was easier.
So that's how much I liked it. So for me, I think it is the side of the kids that stole my heart. And by the time he must tell you that before he got married, I got cold feet so many times because I felt, oh my God, I'm making a mistake. Not because he's a wrong person, not because I had any doubts about him, but you know, the society, like you're marrying somebody younger, you know, that society stigma. Now, in my mind, I'm telling myself, what if everybody's right? You know, what if everybody's right? You can't marry as a younger person and it works, you know. And and of course I got a lot of advices that even him.
Yeah, one thing we did is immediately, because we knew our position back then. I was serving in church in Westlands under Reverend Tom Atieno. I was in ministry. I was performing. I was doing ministry with my music. But one thing we did after we met, even as there's a point we had, you know, should we stop this or not? Should we seek God? And I remember there's a time we actually took it's not a break. We told ourselves, can we separate to see if this thing is true? I stayed with Martha Makazi. She stayed somewhere else, and you know, so that we can see whether it is truthful. And I remember we went to about 4 pastors in Nairobi, you know, these big pastors, and 2 of them told us it's okay because we told them the truth. We told them, I love this lady. She has 2 children, and what do you think? 2 pastors will tell me, George, I don't think it's the problem. You guys go ahead. And I went to 2 other pastors and they say, George, someone will tell me, George, why do you need to marry her? Someone will tell her, I would explain, I would ask her, will you tell me what is the reason you would discourage me from marrying her? the pastor would say, no, there's nothing, but why don't you just look for a lady who does not have children? We went to these big pastors. Some of them I can't even mention their name because.
Were you mentioning about also the age difference?
We mentioned everything. We told them everything. There's this lady who's the husband is a former governor of Central Bank. He's also a pastor. Went to all these people and they told us, George, I don't know, there's no reason, there's nothing wrong, I understand, but George, why don't you just look for another lady, you start alone? And I'll tell them, I was a little bit big-headed. I'll say, no, please. Other than whatever you're telling me, the children or whatever, and me looking for fresh and everything, just tell me what reason, anything that, godly reason why this lady will not be fine for me. And so what happens is we went through these ones and ultimately went back and prayed for ourselves. We sought men of God, we sought their wisdom, they spoke to us. Some of them actually told us, can you separate for 6 months so that you see this thing is true? We tried the separation and everything. And when we came back, we told ourselves, you know what? Let's search God for ourselves. And we searched God together, we prayed. And the only thing I was asking God, make it, allow us to. That was everything we were asking God. We have messed up somewhere, or no, she has messed up somewhere. And we knelt down and said, God, just like just like King David, please make it, just allow us to get married. And that's how we prayed. And finally, when we knew we were comfortable and I had gone to our parents, I went to the parents when I had my dreadlock and everything. I did not hide. For me, I went as I was, just like I used to serve. I used to serve in church with my...
You went to her parents?
Yes. I remember.
You went with dreadlocks. You had dreadlocks and went to her parents. Yes.
I went with dreadlocks. I remember I had a brown suit, I had a tibalak, and I went to Meru. And I drove in and I sat down with the parent, and the father is a tough guy. He's a Meru tough guy. But God gave me wisdom. I don't know how. I was 22 years old. I don't know where the wisdom came.
You were 20. You say that again, George. We lost you. That's very important. How old were you?
I was 22 years old.
Mm-hmm.
I drove into their house, sat down with the parent. The mother was there. I think the brothers were not there, but the father was there, the mother was there. And then we came, the pleasantries, we had breakfast and stuff. Then I sat down with the father. And I told him the truth. I'm here. I love your child. I love your daughter. The dad asked me questions about the children, about what. I'm telling you, that discussion took only less than 1 hour, and I was given a go-ahead. And I'm telling you, this is a man who's serious. He's serious. He's a very serious man. But I don't know what he saw in me, and I don't know what favor I had that day. And the man said it's okay. So the rest of the day we were just eating, talking about other stuff, but it was a done deal. So the rest of the family is where now had issues. The father the brother who follows after him is an okay guy. So he sat down with me, talked to me. He has three brothers and one sister. So the sister came to me like the first times of them, when you were dating, and he's also a very serious lady. He came and told me, George, what is your intention? So again, after 1 hour, he gave me a clean bill, he gave me a check and I was done. 1 or 2 brothers, it took like 6 months, not talking to me, another 1 year, until then they were okay with me. And after maybe 1.5 years, everyone is okay now. We are friends with almost every person. Yeah. Yep.
Wow, amazing. So, Carol, what was your experience? I mean, so of course, because George came to your home and was able to talk on his own behalf to your father, but how was it on their side, on George's side for you?
My side, it was a walk in the park. Basically, I think George's trust him. He is the I don't know which word I can see, he's the Taliban of the family. No. He makes the rules. He's sort of, so he's grown up being the serious one, the tough one, and maybe because they've never seen him play around with girls, when I think he introduced them to me, they did not, I think that was one.
It was the first girlfriend, so they were seeing the first person in their whole entire life.
So I think, even I remember one of the closest cousins telling me, the reason we are not even pinganaing with this story is because if George made a decision, then we know he has thought about it. He's not playing around, and we are for it. And then number two, I must tell you, it is also a matter of the heart, because George's mother, George's father, their siblings, they are very big-hearted. It is for almost 14 years since we met, almost 15 years since we met, and up to date, and I'm not lying, my brothers-in-law and George also has only one sister. Your siblings, my Kaylin and Melody, and now you see we have other kids. Like how, let me pick JJ for example, how JJ would treat Nadia, who is George's child, and how George would treat Kaylin and Melody is exactly the same, even years later. And from the beginning, they have never segregated, they have never treated them like different. They're not even away from the children, they have loved me like a sister. They 100%, I can't even say 98%. Of course, the only person probably who had a bit of loggerheads was with mom. It has nothing to do with me. Yeah. It's just because she's from the coast. And you know how coast people are, you know, like, but we've never had a conversation. So sometimes I get a bit edgy, but it has nothing to do with me. She does the same thing to the son. She does the same thing to all the children. But so it has nothing to do with me personally. She's a very big-hearted person. We sing together because she's a singer. We do everything together. But I can tell you 100%, I've never had any issues with the family at all. They accepted me. The father accepted me 100%. They came home, paid dowry. And I remember also when we went home for introductions, the formal introductions, I was very careful to say, guys, I didn't go because I didn't go with my kids. Like, guys, I have 2 kids. You know, like, let's get this clear. I don't want anyone to. And I remember everybody being so excited about it and them giving me examples of people in their family who are married with kids and it's no big deal. And their family as well, the fathers, even if the parents are separated, both families worked very well. They went to Meru, paid dowry, you know, everything, and everything was sorted.
Just to explain, there's 3 families.
So by this time, yes, George.
There's 3 families now. There's a family from Meru, and then there's a family from the Bongo family from Mombasa, where my mom comes from. And now there's the Mugenda family, where is my dad's family from Kinango.
Yes.
So
there are 3 families operating here.
Yeah.
But both sides of George's family were really, really up to date, very welcoming to me. I've never had any prejudice of sort.
Wow, interesting. So by the time George and Carol, you're getting married. So George, at this time, you're 23?
Yeah, by the time you're getting married,
yes.
And so Carol, so Carol, you are 30. If he was 23, then it means you are.
By the time we were getting married, I was a birthday to my 31st birthday. Yes.
I'm even forgetting.
Yes.
So
yes.
8-year difference. Wow, yes. Wow. So George, you get married at 23 and you become a father immediately. How was that for you?
I mean, it's like I've been doing it for all my life. I never saw any difference. There was no structural difference. There was no change. For me, it was easy. I just interacted with the kids as normal as I could. They made it also easy for me because they loved me generally. I loved them generally. Really, to be honest, even now I'm even amazed. I don't know how to explain to you because I did not go with a manual. I did not a manual. I said, let me go and love them. This is what I told Carol when I met her. I don't fall in love. I grow in love. As for me, what I did also with the children, I just allowed myself to grow in love with them, and that's how it was easy for them. When they needed to be disciplined, I was very quick to discipline because I am the disciplinarian in the family. She's not, you know. So I disciplined them if I needed to. I love them, and you know, the children are also. I'm a touchy person. I'm a hugger. She's not a huggy type.
I need counseling.
Actually, the kids would come to hug the mother, and she would like do this sometimes. You know, I'm the hugging type, so it was easy for me. I love the kids as genuine as it is, and really, I don't know how to explain more than that one because it was as natural. There was no manual. I learned things as I progressed with them. You know, and it was easy for me. It was really easy. Yes.
So, what would you say? Because of course now it's been 13 years since you've been married. What would you say you struggled with? with let me say Carol, for the sake of the interview, with Carol's children, would you give us an experience you ever had that you struggled with?
There are many. There are many, even some that even threaten the divorce. There are many. If there's anything in our marriage that has actually been like the number one cause of conflict, would be actually discipline. It's not the children; it's the discipline to the children. So because again, she was okay from the word go, because she would even tell me, "George, go discipline the children." The children were at a point where they would not listen when they were young. So she would tell me, she would invite me, go discipline them. And so that's how we began. That one thing which is your strength sometimes also becomes your downfall. She loved me because I was strict or whatever, but over the years, now she does not appreciate my toughness and stuff. So in one another, now we the children also growing up at some point, they would also try to test you at some point, and also try to pull you, to pull some string, something. So in one another, in growing up, there are some instances where disciplinary issues and stuff, and that one also caused some issues in our marriage, and the argument that also we had. So it is actually now currently, or it is one of the issues that we're also dealing with, discipline with the children, and so it has contributed to our issues. Just like
is it just to get it? Is it disciplining? Is it kind of feeling you're over disciplining them?
Not even over discipline, like you're just being too tough. This is something you can handle with speaking. This is and I don't. And now this is the problem. I look at my siblings, at my friends. It happens probably in every family, especially at teenage, because that is where the children start taking offense in discipline.
Yes.
But now this is the problem. When you're in a blended family like us, where the father is not the biological. Now remember, my biggest fear was to bring in a person who would make my children suffer. So it's as if I have this hypersensitive mode, like to watch. Is it an artist? Like it's like I'm on guard, And I remember that one of the people that calmed me, I remember, I can't remember, Kelly must have been like 9, and you disciplined her, and I was so upset. So I called my mom. I rarely tell my mom what I'm going through. So I called my mom and told her. Now my mom is also a disciplinarian. So I don't know why I had forgotten that. I should have somebody else. So anyway, my mom was like, Carol, never had a child die because they were disciplined. So if George is going to discipline the child, let him as long as he's not harming her or physically harming her or saying bad words, like curses. If it's just discipline, she told me to define the discipline, what he had done. He said that's just normal discipline, but because my nature is not to discipline, my nature is to talk and to work out issues. That is why I find it like that. Like all my life, my loggerheads with my mom was because she's such a tough disciplinarian. It was too much for me. And I think because of my mother's discipline, I don't want that for my children. So, but you see, they cannot grow. But for me, I think it is just like a hypersensitive fence that if this was their father, their real father, to be honest, he still does the same for Nadia now, like the same discipline.
Yeah, but I wanted to ask that. Now, since you got married, you have 4 children, children together. So does he still discipline them the same way?
Yes. Now I might feel bad, but the bad feeling is not that big. Because I know he's doing it I don't know, the hypersensitive fence has gone now. And now I look back and I said, nilijitesa nini hiyo miaka yote, like, because I was feeling, like, no, it's because he's not their blood father, but that is his nature. There are things children are not allowed to do. There are times they're not allowed to sleep late. He just operates with order in his life,
By the way, when you're talking about discipline, let's put it into context. Don't think that nachukua narusha mangumu. This is how it happens. For example, every kid would test a parent, and sometimes even as old as 2 years old, if you do not show like some strictness, they can push it to the limit. For example, our kids, they have this habit, like me. I'm an insomnia. I have acute insomnia, so I have this habit of not sleeping. I can even stay up to 4 in the morning. Now my kids have also picked it. So when we met, she would tell the kids, go to sleep. They will not go. Actually, if she tells the kids go to sleep, 4 hours later, the kids do not. I just need to utter once, guys, go to sleep, and they'll wake up and go to sleep. You understand? Right now, kids with Nadia, what happens with them? Nadia, they would go up to, our kids can actually transnight. They can go up to morning watching TV and doing stuff. And if I'm not in the house, now, if I'm not in the house, like I've gone for a week, trust me, my kids will be, they will sleep 4 in the morning every day. Now, because my wife is not, yes, she's not a discipline, she does not follow up. If the house help does not help them sleep, she will not follow up with the kids to sleep. So those are the kind of things that
I'll tell them to sleep, just they won't.
She will tell them to sleep, but the problem is she will sleep before them. So she will.
Okay, all right. So I actually get. I think what the point that I.
And the kids will be awake up to 4 in the morning. So that one will piss me off, and we would start arguing. Can you be tough with them? Can you blah blah blah? That kind of toughness, yeah. Otherwise, I don't.
Oh, yeah. So I think what I like, you don't box them. I think what I like that Carol has brought up is just telling a single mother out there that it is okay to feel that way. I mean, these are her children. You came in to be their father later, but it is a human thing to feel, but it is something that you can just, because she now knows that there is no malice. I mean, even with your own biological children, you do it, but it's a normal thing that somebody can feel in a blended family.
Yes.
I really like that point that you have brought up. Yes, and that's fine. Wonderful. I don't know why an hour goes very, very fast, and we are almost going to the end. And I think for me, what I would ask you, George, because there's a man out there, it could be a young man, a much older man, but he's single, and he's probably dating currently a lady with a child or with children, you know?
Yeah.
I don't know, what would you tell that man? Now, having married, you never just married a lady with 2 children, but the lady was 8 years younger than you. Let me tell you, George, every time we try to answer that question, we tell people 2 years is not too much. 3, I have 8. Honestly, I have not said 8. So what would you tell a man, out there?
Number one, this is what immediately after our wedding, our wedding was publicized, it was on magazine, it was everywhere. And one thing I saw people doing was people had sudden inspiration. And I had people coming, George, I'm going to get married. I'm like, first of all, please don't do sudden inspirations. You go do something, you see someone doing something, then you want to do what they're doing. Someone has their own grace, someone has their own whatever maturity and stuff. So this is what I would tell people. Marrying a lady, and a lady with children, or a lady who is older than you, number one thing is, first of all, identify the person you love. Just love is number one, okay? And then this is what I say. When you meet someone, love them for who they are, okay? Because if you find someone who is disabled, you still love them. If you find someone who has issues, they're coming with their baggage, dysfunctional family, you still love them. So for me, I did not see the children. The children are not a burden, The children, if Carol would have won a Nobel Prize, that is what she would have come with, and it's still okay. So if she would have been a millionaire, if she came with whatever, so it's the same thing. For me, the children were an extension of her package, and they were not heavy. They were actually beautiful. They were actually very beautiful. So I did not see any issue with it. So for me, what I would tell people, number one, wait for your appointed time, because do not rush things. Because when I meet people say, George, there are those people who found the inspiration from us and say, oh, George, I'll marry next month. No, wait for your appointed time, number one. 2, make sure it's the right person, okay? Love each other for real. And when they are coming with their own children, please don't look at them as a burden. Learn to love them first. Because if you do not love the children, and if you do not have a relationship with them, I assure you that relationship will not work, because it will be tested. And the number one thing that will not change is these children are not your children. And if you do not assimilate them into your, into yourself, you will most probably.
I lost you a bit.
Okay, sorry. I'm saying if you get the children and you do not assimilate them into your, into the dating structure, into a family, you will automatically have issues. So for me, get the right time, wait for the right time, get the right person. Even if they have children, learn to love the children as your own. Do not go for sudden inspirations. Maturity is very important. Please do not jump into it if you're not serious, because it's not a game for boys. It's not a game for boys at all. You're coming into someone's life. You're coming into the children's life. You know, the day that the children came to me and told me, Daddy, we're calling you Daddy. It's not a simple thing for someone to call you Daddy. And since they met me 13 years ago up to now, they have never, even one day, called me George or any other name. It is Daddy. And I think they cannot call me any other name. Daddy comes to them as natural, very natural. So you're investing and you're becoming vulnerable. You're putting them. They're coming into your lives. So just be genuine, be truthful, be honest to them, and love them for who they are.
Wow! Yeah. Wow! That is powerful. So, Carol, also there's a lady watching you. I have had ladies say, I only get men who are younger than me, or maybe there's a single lady out there again watching, and I mean, a single mom out there, I've had one child and wondered, will it ever happen? Can it ever happen? What would you tell those two kind of ladies, or if it is the same lady with the same kind of, what would you say, Carol?
I would still hold the same sentiment George has. It is the person. Now, remember, when George came to me, now remember when you're a single mom, you start becoming like a butterfly to honey. Like you attract a lot of people, some who think you're desperate, you're looking for, some just want a sexual experience. There's so much people attracting now. Before George, he wasn't the first young person that came to me. In fact, if I count, maybe I'll say four young people who I was really pissed off with because they were trying to have a relationship with. Why was it an unstarter with the others? It wasn't so much the age, like the package. I also had way older people that were interested in me. But there's something I can say, it's a question of maturity. I normally say, it's the package, It might be a package in a 23-year-old body. It might be a package in a 56-year-old body. It might be a package in, I don't know, a disabled person, just like he said. But who is the person inside that person? I think that is the person I identified. So again, let not every woman rush to marry any young man. No, it doesn't. A lot of young men are trying to take advantage of your stability and money. There's a lot, definitely, that are trying to do that. A lot of young men are not in this. I know a young man, I think even a bit older than you, who was born again, by the way, who came and told me, by the way, Carol, let me tell you, unaona single ladies, what a church. Lazima akuwe na like a guy, somebody who, services them. And I was so offended. So that means if I wanted a relationship, I could have it with him, but I knew hakuna pahali tunaenda. Yeye lazima atafika wakati wake wa kuoa. Mimi I'm a service lane, niko kwa service lane. So basically, it is not just every young man that is interested. So it has nothing to do with young or old. And one thing I must tell Christians, I also did a lot of my research. So I wanted to ask God, is this like the gay agenda? Where people even gay try to justify and bring God into the picture. I went back into the Bible and researched. Is there anywhere God has said, if you marry a young man, a man younger than you, you're sinning? And I was pleasantly surprised to realize Rahab, Rahab the prostitute, married a man who was 10 years younger than her. And in the lineage of Jesus, that was my biggest encouragement. And and there are many other cases, but there is nowhere in the Bible somebody can take and quote me and says, thou shalt not marry a man younger than you, apart from what people quote that Adam was older than Eve and blah, blah, blah. But there is nowhere that God says that if you marry somebody who is younger, you're sinning. So once I established that with God, I knew there was no mistake I was doing. The only mistake would have been trying to have affairs or having funny things besides. As long as we were getting married in a holy matrimony and we were ready to start the story of God in our lives. For me, that was the biggest thing.
Wow. Yeah. That was the biggest thing. All right, wonderful. So as you say your parting shot, George, let me ask you this. Has your ego ever been threatened? Have you ever felt less a man? Did you feel less a man because Carol was older or Carol had children, actually older, let me use the fact that they're both the age-wise, did you ever feel threatened as a man?
Ego, age-wise, no, zero. Zero, because actually, to be honest, I think namkalia sana. To be honest, I think age-wise, no. Ego in terms of financial or whatever, those things maybe, but age-wise, no. From the word go. From the word go.
So you still felt you're the man of that house?
I've never felt anything less. Never.
Wow. So George, what?
It has never been even threatened that at all.
Actually, let me clarify. You have no idea how many times we're in an argument. I'm like, stop treating me like a 2-year-old. So actually, in the opposite, he's the one who treats me as if I'm a man.
So it has moved. All right. So George, what's your? Maybe you can be thinking about your parting shot. Carol, just before your parting shot, what would you tell that girl feeling? Now, you've talked to a girl who is a single mom, and what you talked about, you are a church girl. I can't forget that. What would you tell that church girl who is feeling like, she has moved away from God so much? Because I know there's a church girl listening right now. What would you tell her?
For me, that has become my biggest ministry, because I know there are so many women, not even church girls. There are so many women who get married even by saved people, but get confused in relationships and lose identity of who they are in Christ. And therefore, as much as they did not even backslide per se, they stop going to church, they stop loving God, they give up on God. So women sort of seem to take this blunt more than men, I think, because they're the ones who carry pregnancies, they're the ones who go through abortions, they're the ones who go through the scourge of maybe such things. So for me, I want, there's a quote Miles Monroe said, that only 0.01 leaders are able to get back again when they backslide. Why? Because it is hard. But I want to tell every girl out there, every woman out there, it is not impossible. You can wake up again, because God did not love you less when you are a nice, righteous, virgin girl at 20, and now he stopped loving you because you messed up and now you're 40 and your life, you have, I don't know, some even have 4 children from different men. Some are very messed up stories. Some they are with some, they don't even have all their kids. I deal with all sorts of manner of stories or whatever. I want every woman to know, despite what you went through, despite what you did, despite any decision that you made, Christ doesn't love you less. In fact, every day he's standing at your doorstep wondering, can you come back? And every experience, I keep telling George, if I did not go through this experience, I would have been a baby Christian. Where I am spiritually today is honestly because I went through this whole experience. I learned to search God differently and learned to search God by myself, because I did not have any more fellowship or anything again. So yes, it's you can stand up and serve the Lord again, not just become a Christian, but serve the Lord again.
Wow. Hope against all odds. George, 1 second parting shot, and then Carol.
This is the first time I'm doing a live interview, so
I'm glad.
But marriage works, number 1. And number 2 is, for me, it doesn't matter what age you are, so long as it's true love. Make sure it's genuine. Put God first, yes. And if you're coming to a relationship where there's a child involved, I would emphasize that and I usually say, this is what I usually say, I don't want you to be 98%. I want you to be 100%, because you're going to, you're being involved with people's lives, and you should treat it with, you should be careful with it. So that's my parting shot.
Your parting shot, wonderful. Carol, your parting shot.
I hope it's as good as this.
Can you see I still have butterflies? I'm not yet composed.
It's basically, what I can say is, myself and George, we are a story of God. And for me, God can take anything as muddied, as confused, as imbalanced, as even something people may even look at and think it is sin. You know, God can take any situation and make a story out of it. I have seen marriages where they got married as virgins, very young, and everything perfect. You know, they are church people, and it didn't last a year or two. You understand? But because they did not let it end up as a story of God. But I look at us and see only the story of God. To be honest, if it was just by me or by George, Akuna Pali together, we would not go anywhere. We are simply the story of God. And the day we die,
and we go through the normal stuff.
the normal
just
market
like,
stuff.
I mean, we argue, we quarrel. To be honest, Pauline, to be honest, we argued 2 days ago. I've not spoken to her for 2 days. And that's the reality. And this one, you know,
I like that.
When we used to go and do interviews at Hope FM, we used to argue. And like if you have argued that particular day, we speak it, we have argued. So we go through the normal, no, it's just like the normal marriages. We argue about finances, we argue about whatever, we argue about everything. Everything. So we are normal. There's nothing separate. There's nothing that is screaming 8 years. No. We argue.
Because of, yeah.
Exactly. We argue.
So what matters is the love that you talked about. Do you love one another?
God being in the middle of it.
And
because
God.
If God doesn't help you guys, you are done.
Amazing, amazing, amazing. What a wonderful evening.
Let me tell you, Pauline, I think we sometimes even forget we have an 8 years difference. It's you was reminding us.
Yeah, it's true.
Apart from the times where our kids will say, Daddy, how old are you? 35. Oh, Mommy, you're 42. Okay. That's how our kids will do. So sometimes it's not even a non-issue in our family because our kids know it. Our younger kids even play around with it. Mommy is 45. Daddy is 35. You know, those are the things that happens in our house. So we are okay with it.
Wow. Just amazing. I have honestly enjoyed one whole hour with the Bongos. Really nice. Thank you for coming. Thank you for being one thing you should know, and I've read about and listened to their story again, and they are very, very open, just as you have had. I mean, they're a normal couple, just like any other couple, not because the age difference is there or Carol had children before they were married. That does not make them have other strange things. They go through them normal like any other couple. So thank you very much for being open to the viewers, for speaking to someone out there. I want to believe you have been a blessing. So thank you very much for being with us. And thank you, my viewers. It's me, Pauline, always happy to come to you on Before and After I Say I Do Live. And yes, until next time on Friday, same time, 7:30, look out on our page to know the next topic. Remember, this month we are talking about keeping hope alive. And today was hope against all odds, you know. So from us here, the Bongos, see you. All the best in Rwanda. Continue praying for Kenya as we go through this season of COVID. I'm sure you are you've already gone back to more normal than us right now. But we are getting there. So God bless you and good night, everybody. Bye-bye, and God bless Kenya.
Bye. Thank you so much.